Welcome back, everyone. It's FNews57 here. I'm back on Neverwinter on the Xbox One, and today I would like to show you everything about influence farming. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is influence. It is a needed currency in order to upgrade the guild hall, and it also is a very good way for players to go ahead and obtain guild marks. Now, I'm going to show you how much of it can be obtained per day and cover a few tips and tricks about that. Remember that the quests do reset at the server reset. So for me, that's Eastern time, and it resets at 6 a.m. Now, there's going to be a bunch of quests that you can do for shards all around the guild stronghold. I would recommend doing these as well. As you can see, I have them completed, so I'm just going to quickly turn them in right now before reset. Now that that's over, because those quests reset, depending on what level guild you're in and what guild hall structures they have built, you will have multiple little buildings. You'll have ones like the stable, the archmage, the barracks, the explorers guild, things like that, depending on exactly what structures your guild has built. Those are going to reward you with bonus quests, and we'll cover those in just a second. Now, your primary source of influence is going to be your basic 400 influence per day per character. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm going to show you how to make that, instead of 400, almost 700, almost 800 influence per day per character that you wanted to do it on without a double influence event. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to make sure you do 5 heroic encounters in the guild stronghold. If you can't solo them, that's okay. Call out in guild or alliance chat and get a group of people together. One of them should be a tier 3 heroic. The way you can tell the difference is that's the basic icon for a tier 1, tier 2 with the 2 swords, and tier 3 with the 3 swords. You run one tier 3 for the additional heroic shards every day. The rest of them, it doesn't matter. You're going to get the same amount of influence regardless. So once you've done that, you're going to go ahead and open the heroic encounters. The first one will give you 150 influence, the second 120, the third 75, the fourth 35, and the fifth 20. Now, you will have any bonus items that you get depending upon what tier of heroic encounter it was that you completed. So you will see I've got my refinement points, and I've got my 400 influence. Alright, that's the base influence that you can get per day. This is where most players stop, is right there at that base 400. Which is alright. I mean, it's 400 guild marks, it's 400 influence. It can be worth more during double guild marks if you were to hold on to it like I do. And obviously you could reference my video for turning guild marks into astral diamonds. But you can convert your guild marks into astral diamonds or AD, and you can also convert your guild marks into gold, or use them for whatever gear, or items, decks, belts, whatever you might need for your character. But so this is where it gets interesting. Now, since I said most people stop there, we're going to go ahead and show you where else you can go. For instance, the barracks. Now, there's a little bit of difference in this. You might not have the exact same quest, and your guild may not have built the structure in the exact same place. Not sure why those wolves aggroed on me, so we'll just get rid of them real quick. But wherever in your guild, you'll want to look at the map and you'll want to check the structures. So the quartermaster will have a quest for you, and for me, it is complete 4 heroic encounters in the Well of Dragons, which I've already done that. Then you can go ahead and come back into the stronghold, turn in the quest for XP silver and 100 influence. This quest does not reset at server reset. This quest resets every 20 hours. So it can be done once per day, regardless of what time exactly you turned it in reference to reset. As you can see, it's server reset right now for the new day, and I can't pick up the quest and do it again. So unfortunately, those can only be done once per 20 hours. Now you see I'm up to 500 influence. Now we're going to go ahead and keep going. You can make a little rotation the way the buildings are laid out, at least in my guild stronghold. The next one, and this one I do all the time, is the stable. Once again, you may not have the same guild structures, and you may not have them in the same place. I am currently in a maxed Guild Hall 20 guild with max structures, so that's how we're getting the highest level of the quests. One of my friends was in a guild that wasn't Guild Hall 20, and his barracks quest had him complete 4 heroic encounters in Icewind Pass. So, not 100% sure of that, but yeah, it's interesting. This one you should try and do every day. This is an easy one. From the Stable Master, if you have it, you will be able to pick up a quest that rewards up to 40 influence. It's a race quest. It completes automatically when you pick up the rewards. You do not have to come back to the guild stronghold, and it resets once every server reset. Shout out to Draconis Lupus for reminding me to actually go and do this quest. Then, if you have the quest up here, we have 2 more that we're going to do, and these are situational. They're not too terribly difficult if you have the same ones, but they are situational depending on if you have the structures and if you want to mess with them. So far, what I showed you is very easy to get as far as the influence. The 400, the Barracks quest, the Whispering Caverns quest, that's a minimum of 540 influence per day. And that's extremely easy to do. These other 2 quests, they're not as easy to do because they're a little bit situational and require a little more time. One of them is going to require you to interact with skill nodes, either in the guild stronghold or anywhere else in all of Faerun. And you are going to have to collect an item called chipped mugs. You'll see I have them right here. Now you're going to be forced to acquire 12 of these in order to complete the quest, and they only drop from skill nodes that you have to use a kit in order to actually get the reward from. It's really annoying, but yeah. That's from the next NPC that I'm going to show you. This, the Wizard's Tower Tier 4 upgrade, this is the one that's situational to do. For me, it is kill all of the Heralds of Tiamat. So that's the green dragon, the red dragon, blue dragon, white dragon, and black dragon. That's all 5 of them. They don't have to be killed all at the same time, but they do have to be killed at least once each in order to go ahead and complete this quest. Then you come back to the guild stronghold and turn it in for your XP, silver, and of course another 100 influence. So that gives us the 600 influence. And that one, like I said, that one's the situational one, unfortunately. Now I'm going to go over here to the Explorers Guild, because the Explorers Guild is the one for the chipped mug. And that's the one I actually don't like doing. The only bad thing about the Heralds of Tiamat, if that is the one that you have, is getting enough players together to kill all 5 of the dragons that spawn, because they only give you a 15-minute time window to kill all 5. So you can basically only afford to spend like roughly 3 minutes per dragon. Not bad if you have a group, but if you're doing it by yourself, it could be rather difficult. This one, I simply just don't bother with because I don't really look for skill nodes a lot. I'll get skill nodes if I happen to run across them, so I do pick up the quest, but I don't go out of my way to do it. Once you have the 12 chipped mugs, you can come back here to the guild stronghold and turn in the quest. Now these are the only ones that I have been able to find for influence. My guild does not have any of the other structures built. I've checked every single structure, but there is one more thing that you can do in the guild stronghold. And I'm going to show you the Whispering Caverns race. This race I would recommend doing. It's especially easy to do if you have at least an epic mount. If you have a blue mount and you use the guild mounted movement speed boon, you should be fine in completing it. But it is simply a walk, or in this case, ride, from point A to point B and then collect your reward. So it can't really get any easier than that. It's only 40 influence for the highest level result, but it is 40 influence, which is 40 guild marks, or 80 on double guild marks. And most guilds, well, they need influence. Not everyone, but most guilds still need influence, so you should have plenty of room to donate influence. Obviously, you can get your influence on alts. All of these are available on alts, but depending on the level of the alt, the easiest thing to do would be the 5 heroic encounters in the Guild Stronghold and the Whispering Cavern race. As you can see, I'm 55% of the way done, or 66 now on the track, and we're still on track time-wise for the Tier 3 reward, which this will be the final really checkpoint that you have to worry about. There's one more up here at the very end, right before you turn in the quest and collect your reward. I still had a minute and 5 seconds left, so relatively easy to do. I'm using a legendary mount, of course, but I do not have the guild mounted movement speed boon active. Go ahead and collect that, and there you go. There is your 740 influence for one day for one character as promised, in addition to the XP that you got for the quest, the gold you got from the quests, and of course the little bit of refinement points. Now, like I mentioned, there is one more thing that you can do inside your guild stronghold. This one I wouldn't recommend soloing. Have you ever heard of Marauders Escape? It's a new event that they added, and it's been out for a while. It's unique. It spawns on the half hour. I believe it's like every hour and a half you have the option to do it. I don't have the exact timing because I don't really bother with Marauders very much, so I don't have the gameplay to show you. But the NPC will be here on this bridge. If you see anybody in your guild or alliance call out for Marauders starting in whatever, make sure that you go and participate. It should take you about 10, maybe 15 minutes max to complete it. And what it's going to be is there will be a series of supply crates. One here, one over that way, I do believe, and one over on the far side over that way, basically next to the catapults. You will have to defend them. Once you get to wave 5, you will have the option to basically, if you haven't defended all 3 of the spots, quit. And that gives you some different vouchers, random campaign currency, white vouchers, and it also gives you 600 influence. Now that does not double, or at least I have not been able to get it to double during double influence, but all of the influence earned that I just showed you how to get the 740 in a day, all of that does double during double influence. So technically, the maximum you could get would be 1,480 influence, worth approximately 2,960 guild marks if turned in on double guild marks. So that is how everybody wonders why I have so much influence in my inventory, normally 10,000 plus, sometimes even 30,000 influence between double guild mark events, and that is how I do it. I farm at least 540 influence every day, and every week I try to do the Marauders quest on my main if I can catch it in time. If I can't catch it in time, it's okay, because I'd rather farm dungeons. One last thing you can do. You can do the quest Storming the Castle. Now, the reason why I didn't cover this in the beginning is because A, the rewards change in Mod 14, B, it is not technically pure influence, therefore it is an item that takes up another inventory slot, but it does give you a major influence voucher, which is worth 400 influence, so 400 guild marks or 800 guild marks during double guild marks. And of course, you can keep stacking the major influence vouchers. This quest can be done on every character that is in a guild, as long as the character is in a guild and level 70. That requires you to do a Stronghold Siege event, which I will cover an easy way to farm it in a separate video. But just figured I would mention that you can get the major influence voucher from that quest. If you wanted to do Dragonflight, there is a chance to get major, or really all kinds of different influence vouchers. Not 100% sure on the major ones. And of course, you can get the Strongboxes of influence. You can also obtain the Strongboxes of influence from the Summer Festival if you farm the Summer Festival, but they are only worth 400 influence unless you open them, and they require a Strongbox key to open, which you would have to purchase either from the Zen Market or from the Tarmaloon Trade House, so from another player. And Strongbox keys, well, 20 of them is 1,000 Zen, 5 of them is 300 Zen, so that can be pretty expensive if you're opening a bunch of those boxes. But you can do it to get even more influence if your guild needs influence. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. I will do my best to answer them for you. You can message me on Discord if you would like to join my Discord. You're welcome to, or follow me on Twitter for updates on new videos, and also my live stream time schedule on Twitch. The last thing I'm going to show you is simply, in case people don't know, that influence is actually worth 1 guild mark per. As you can see, I'm going to select 1, and it says 1 influence, 1 guild mark. So just in case anybody was curious on that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, as I mentioned earlier, message me. And if you did enjoy the video, please leave a like on it and smash that share button, as it greatly helps out the searchability of videos here on YouTube. Until next time, stay frosty.